So good afternoon. My name is Abdullah Snobar. I'm the Executive Director for the DMZ at Ryerson University. For those who don't know, the DMZ is a business incubator and accelerator supporting tech startups to reach global expansion and enable them to foster more made in Canada and made in Ontario jobs. We're delighted to have the Honorable Vic Fedeli, Ontario's Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade on this call today. We're also very happy to have Ryerson's President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Mohammed Hashimi, on the call as well. So welcome to you both. The province has done an incredible job with weathering the short-term support for crisis industries and businesses. As we think about the end of the pandemic, we know that established companies of all sizes are going to need innovators to navigate an increasingly uncertain world. And I know we've been talking about this for some time over the past couple of months. To survive, companies obviously need to be resilient and better connected than ever. And these are the tools that Ontario's fast-growing technology sector are positioned to provide. And obviously with support from incubators and government, we're excited to see what it comes out to be. So this call today is going to help focus on discussing how Ontario's economic reopen strategy will include our province's thriving startup ecosystem and how Ontario will invest in future growth for the long term. We have a number of people from across the province joining this call today, Minister, including startups from Toronto, Niagara Falls, and Innisfil offices in Ontario, and other partner incubators as well from different parts of the province. So we've looked over a number of questions from the startup founders. Everything that we'll be asking today has actually come from founders and from business owners. So we hope to get through as many as possible. As I mentioned, as I always mention in these sessions, whatever we don't get through, folks, we will try to get you answers and share it back with you as soon as possible. We also have a Q&A icon that you will see below the screen where you can actually ask questions live in real time. And we'll be bringing some of those up during the call as well, maybe closer to the end. So again, we'll be working with the minister's office with whatever we're not able to get to. So enough of me, and let's get down to business. Minister Fedeli, first of all, welcome to the call. I hope you and your family are doing well at this time.
Thank you, Abdullah. Yes, I live in Corbeil, Ontario, which is about 20 miles south of North Bay. So it's been a very aggressive period of time. We've had many of these teleconferences across Ontario. Today, I'm back in Toronto for the first time in quite a while here in my office. I haven't been in my office in a couple of months, but the legislature has returned today, Abdullah, so it's nice. But I also want to say hello to Dr. Hashimi. It's very nice to see you again. We've done a couple of calls in the last couple of months. Congratulations on the great successes that you've had at Ryerson as well. So we're very pleased. I'll give very brief opening remarks, if you don't mind, Abdullah. That's fair enough?
Absolutely.
We've got a very large audience of innovators, idea creators. I think what we've seen so far in all of the teleconference calls that we've had right across Ontario is the ideas that we hear from you. They are critical in our jobs and recovery strategy. Today, the 19th of May, is a very, very important day in our road to recovery. We began to reopen a large swath of our economy. We saw more than 100,000 people go back to work today. Between all construction being opened in Ontario, very, very big day for that. We had only residential construction because we wanted to make sure you had food on your table, water, and a roof over your head. Those were the three essentials. So when people ask us, how did we get this essential business list? Those are life's essentials. But today we see construction going back. We saw the automotive plants reopen in Ontario. Now, they were never shut down by the province. They were closed by choice, but that's a very big day when you've got 100,000 workers in automotive alone the supply chain, the Magnas and the Martin Reyes and the Linamars and Woodbridges of the world going back, all of the tool and die makers, all of those advanced manufacturing companies that are back today. Retail opened their doors today, except in malls and with some restrictions. And as somebody who runs a constituency office, let me tell you, the number one issue was, when can I have my dog groomed? Well, that starts today as well. So you can have your pet groomed today. So it was a very big day to see the economy come back. But now we need more specifics from you, from the 150 plus who are on this call. We need you to talk to us through asking questions or making your comments. How can we respond to your call to action? You know, we've seen, I'll give 3 very quick examples. Dritzy, one of the DMZ startups, they were helping researchers speed up research to fight COVID-19 with their supercomputing and high performance computing capabilities and experience. Immersive created BuzzClip, a wearable device that alerts visually impaired people about an obstacle directly in their path. And now that company is using its resources to fight the spread of COVID-19, launching the new pedestrian navigation app, Mappenhood. And that app's social distancing mode uses historic pedestrian foot traffic, advising users to avoid busy streets. Shopify, of course, launched its consumer-facing shopping assistant app that helps consumers discover local businesses that receive relevant product recommendations. So those are 3 examples of hundreds upon hundreds that we could have given. But we know that Ontario's incubators are pivotal to the modernization of our community and, quite frankly, to the return of our economy. So we appreciate your dedication, your success, and looking forward to the next gen and the startups helping us jumpstart. And I think I'll leave it at that and keep the rest of my comments to help answer some of the questions that come up along the way, Abdullah.
Thank you very much, Minister. And maybe first we want to acknowledge the work that your office, and the provincial government has been doing to support the people of Ontario and continuing to keep our province safe during this time. I know these are very difficult decisions, but the right decisions to make. And I think your government has left no stone unturned in supporting everyone at risk. So Toronto has been recognized as North America's fastest growing tech market, creating more jobs than any other sector. Earlier this month, Premier Ford shared a 3-stage economic recovery process. So, of course, Ontario's innovation economy will play a critical part in this. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about how your office will be supporting small businesses and tech startups during this recovery process? And are there any specific resources or stimulus that will be announced to support Ontario's innovations? Over to you.
Thanks, Abdullah. I appreciate that. I think we know that Ontario's capacity to develop and to commercialize, deploy advanced technologies, such as artificial intelligence-based solutions, those are going to be really key to seeing us recover from the effects of the pandemic. We're continuing just like we are here today, and many of you have been on other calls in the past. We're holding consultations with innovators and entrepreneurs. We're looking to determine the best way forward as we recover from this. Our ministry has had several of these kinds of calls with councils, including we just finished another one 5 minutes ago with advanced manufacturing and innovation. That's our second with them in 12 days. Another in competitiveness, another in entrepreneurship, another in small business, another in red tape and regulation. And so we need to continue hearing from entrepreneurs and innovators to envision exactly how we as a global leader can continue being the global leader in a post-pandemic reality. So we need to continue to look at the innovation ecosystem that we have today, that you're responsible for, that you have built and created and sustained. And so we look to you for advice. What do you need? We want to make sure with the federal government that we've got the gaps filled and that there's no duplication. That's really our prime mission right now.
Appreciate that, Minister. And I know that we're trying to do as much as we can to provide as much information and context around what's needed and what needs to what needs to hopefully grow and change to allow the innovation economy to continue prospering. So going on to the second question, Minister. So at the DMZ, we've seen so many startups across the province successfully pivot their existing businesses to support individuals and industries affected the most by the COVID-19 pandemic. But because of this, the DMZ, along with many other tech hubs in Ontario, became a founding partner of something called the Innovation Economy Council, IEC, to look at how Canada's established companies and all levels of government could actually work with innovators to navigate a post-COVID-19 world, which I think has become the magical question now. So with the level of collaboration that we have seen between corporations and startups during the pandemic, how does the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade prioritize innovation when planning for the long-term growth?
Well, that's a great question as well. You know, earlier this month, as I've mentioned, we've had many of these calls. We saw a virtual roundtable hosted by Elevate. Dr. Lashmi was, of course, on the call. Tech industry leaders were there, and we heard from you the values, the priorities that you felt were essential in our path forward. You know, what you need to recover, what we hear from you, rather than what you hear from me. What we hear from you to recover, that helps us redevelop our plans for our road to recovery so that we can do that together. I can tell you that, you know, we've put out our Ontario Action Plan, and that was responding to the COVID-19 right away with a $17 billion program. 3.3 billion was for health, 3.7 was for jobs and families, and 10 billion was in deferrals of taxes. About 6 billion was pretty much for every kind of provincial tax that you pay, right from a tobacco tax on. $6 billion was deferred till the fall. Almost 2 billion in WSIB premiums, almost 2 billion in the provincial share of municipal taxes on your property tax bill. Those are the kinds of things that we immediately put into place, and since then we've followed through. Again, we sit with the federal government, we talk about where are the gaps, who's best to fill this gap, and let's make sure there's no duplication. So we've now got the 900 million in the small business and landlord program. It's the OCECRA program coming up. It starts today, basically. So it rolls out today. I know that it's administered through the federal government. It's just a little bit late, but I think they all want to make sure they get it right. We're contributing almost $250 million towards that. So, you know, the list of what we're going to do to contribute is long. Stage one was announced, the 17 billion. We've got some fillers along the way, like this rent program and others. And now we're looking for the recovery plan. So that's where we need to hear from you on.
Fantastic. Minister, we've seen companies such as Pocket Health, which provides a secure and instant way to receive and share patients' medical imaging, raise about $9 million during the pandemic, and startups like On Call Health, which enables medical practitioners to provide virtual services, not only grow tremendously, but provide exceptional support for our healthcare system during the pandemic at a rate never ever seen before, which is amazing. How have such innovations impacted your ministry's perspective on existing procurement practices, which has been an ongoing discussion in the startup world around procurement in particular? In which areas within the government will we see more investment in innovation, and will there be industries like healthcare, maybe even cyber? You know, are those going to be industries that Ontario will focus more on investing even post COVID-19?
Yeah, look, I think we learned a lot of lessons, and we can always do better. We've seen that, certainly. One of the biggest issues that I've heard from innovators and startups is we can't crack into the government. You know, the government should be one of our biggest customers. We've got a solution. The OCE, I was at a physical roundtable with OCE just before COVID, and I'm looking across the table thinking, I know you, I met you before. And he's got a startup company. He said, my God, I've got this medical solution. I'm selling it to the national hospital system, the NHS, I think that's what it's called in Great Britain, but I can't crack into my own province. So we're learning these kinds of things. So we developed the Ontario Together portal, and I would urge you all to go ontario.ca/Ontario Together. We received 23,000 submissions of ideas in the Ontario Together portal. Down at the bottom of the, and by the way, it's for PPE, but it's also for innovative solutions. It doesn't have to be a physical, I make a mask, I make a ventilator. That's the first part. The second and third part are for you, the innovators. Give us your ideas, talk to us, tell us what you can do. Then if you go down a little farther, at the bottom of the page, it's the Ontario Together Fund. Now all of a sudden we've got money, $50 million. And we've only awarded one contract so far. One award, one investment was $850,000 to Virox Technologies in Oakville, and they have an assembly line for sanitized wipes. And so that's the one and only award we've done so far, but we've got a few more that we'll announce shortly, 3 more, I believe. But the point is there's money. We want your ideas. We want your money. And a big part of it that I've seen is just procurement. We don't need any money from you. We want you to buy our product. And we've seen a tremendous, I forget the number now, of procurement awards that we've made just because we've heard from you for the first time to us. Now, maybe you've been knocking on the door in the past, but you know, it's pre-COVID. Today, it's 23,000 have been on that website. We've really seriously, we've assessed them all, but really got it down to about 600 or 700. From that, there's a really solid core of under 100 who are going to receive contracts out of this because they've got great ideas. So, you know, let's keep these doors open.
That's fantastic, and I got to say, even with you, Minister, and Minister Sarkaria, both fantastic, and your offices have been extremely helpful for us in being able to actually refer some of our companies and companies across the province to your staff to actually help maybe take a deeper look at what they're doing. And I know that your Ontario Together kind of open procurement site has been exceptional and really allowing so many founders to be able to actually kind of, you know, trickle down into it all. So we are getting some questions around, you know, we have, you know, we didn't have too many hospitality companies in the tech space, but we do have a few, and I know some of them, and a lot of them across the province have been feeling it probably more than other tech companies in general. One of the most popular questions, and I know this is probably hard to answer at this point, Minister, but when does the province plan on allowing gatherings beyond the 50 people or over 50 people? Sorry, is that something that's even discussed at this point? And I think, in fairness, I think a lot of companies are trying to prepare for what to do, what measures to take now, or in the next few months, assuming that they maybe cannot actually allow for more people to join.
Well, I'm going to take a little while to answer this question, Abdullah, because I think we need to go right back to the beginning and understand how we came up with the essential business list and why. But also, the message that you'll hear is when the Premier or myself come out and make an announcement, some of it is to open certain businesses up or sectors up, but a lot of it is to say, get ready. So we've always given the business community plenty of time. So if we haven't announced get ready yet, don't get ready yet. Some of it's going to take a while. So again, it's food on your table, water, and a roof over your head. So you think, all right, what has that got to do with anything? So the fact that we opened construction for residential only that already had a building permit, that meant that somebody had already committed, somebody probably sold their house and needed a place to move into. So we're being practical. You need a roof over your head. We allowed that construction, not commercial, not industrial, not institutional, but we allowed that. We also allowed any health-related and food-related construction to finish. So if you were in the middle of building a greenhouse or a hospital, you were continuing. So food. So we allowed all aspects of food to be open. Manufacturing, growers, producers, processing, Walmart because they sold groceries, grocery stores, pharmacies because you need medicine, and they also sold groceries. So you can see why some of those were open and some weren't. You need to truck those products, so all trucks were open, all transportation was open, all products that fixed trucks and transportation were open, all warehousing, all distribution. So the supply chain stayed open, which meant we needed all of our manufacturing to stay open, which meant we needed all of our mines to stay open. So unlike Quebec, we did not close mines or manufacturing. So when you understand food, water, housing, all that exploded. All the chemical plants were open because you can't make water without a water treatment plant. So there's a certain logic to what we allowed essential. Now, we want to start to open up the economy. So we started to say, all right, things that are seasonal, golf courses, marinas, they're practical to be able to open. So we gave them weeks in advance of a notice. Yes, you can open your golf course to work on the course, but you can't open it for the public. So you see what I'm saying? I know you have nothing to do with golf courses or marinas, but I want you to understand the process we went through. We gave them lots of notice. Get your course ready so you can do your maintenance. Marinas, fix your docks that were crushed in the winter. You can do that, but you can't have customers. And we told them, all right, now you can have your customers. Retail, you're open for curbside only. Now today, this very day, we opened all retail in Ontario except for malls and special social distancing rules and so many people per square feet, that kind of thing. We know that we can do it safely, so we opened construction across the country. But we announced that in plenty of time. We know that we opened auto dealerships because we want our car manufacturers to be up and running, but they can't do it without a retail channel. So a couple of weeks ago, we announced you can open auto by appointment only. That was a signal, get ready to open. So when you hear us talk about, okay, restaurants or events, right now we're still limited to public gatherings of no more than 5 people. You'll know we're getting closer in the coming weeks when we announce, okay, now it's 10 people. Then it'll go to whatever the number is. You mentioned a 50. So you'll hear in lots of notice. So I ask you to be patient because we need to do everything. Everything that we do is about the health and safety of our families. So every decision we make is designed around the learnings of the chief medical officer of health. It's not that, we really need businesses open. Yes, we do, but they need to be open safely and responsibly. So everything we've done has been very gradual, very purposeful, very safe, very slow. There's been no knee-jerk reactions here whatsoever.
That's fantastic, and I'm glad we're recording this session too, Minister, because I'll be sharing this with my partner, who we were supposed to have a wedding in 2 weeks' time, which has been canceled. But
blame Vic.
That's the least of our concern, believe me. So we're okay. Another question from the group is, what are the efforts the province is taking to encourage big companies to continuously collaborate with the startup community? Are there any new programs such as the industry-to-industry demonstration programs that will help in continuing innovation?
Yeah, we've been working with the venture capital community. I think that's really important to ensure investment capital remains healthy on the other side of the pandemic. I think that's a very crucial time for the financial community, the businesses, for government. We've all got to we all have a stake in this, and we've got to work together. You know, we're going to rely on you in your sectors. When we're on the other side of this, for sure. Now, think about this. I would say this, Dr. Lashmi's heard me say this several times. Here I was, I'm not today, I'm in downtown Toronto today on the corner of Bay and Bloor, but 99.9% of these calls that I've had are from my home in Corbeil, Ontario, on a lonely little highway in the middle of nowhere. I live in a town of 4,800 people, yet I had crystal clear broadband. I operated my ministry from 3 Blackberries. Yes, Blackberries, sorry. 3 Blackberries, a hardened laptop, and a desktop unit, and 2 printers. That's my ministry. That's where I operated from. That tells us that things are going to change tomorrow, and we need you. You're the people who are going to lead us out of this and working a whole different way. I've held virtual trade shows with India the other day, because trade is going to be very important for all of us. So investment, trade, all of these, you are going to be a critical tech component in teaching companies how to work in the future through all of the work that you do.
I'm keeping an eye on time, Minister, but I did want to touch on the trade, because you just touched on that quickly right now, and I know part of your portfolio is trade. And any ideas on what trade would look like post-COVID-19 for Ontario and even the tech community in particular?
Well, I mean, we're the number 2 automaker in North America behind Michigan. We're the number 2 IT cluster in all of North America behind Silicon Valley. You take those and smash them together, and you've got Ford, who are putting about 500 people in the the high-tech auto sector in Ottawa, GM with about 500 to 700 in Markham, Uber, I cut the ribbon at Uber some months ago here on Bloor. All of these new autonomous auto programs, we need you. And a big part of why is because under the new NAFTA 2.0, there has to be far greater, from 62.5% up to 70% of a local components that are recovered. By local, we mean North America, Canada, US, and Mexico. So fewer components to be imported offshore. That's under NAFTA 2.0 now. Wow, I mean, that means a window for huge, huge innovation is open for us to be able to have a local source. And when you see this smashing of our auto expertise and our IT cluster expertise, man, we are the best positioned worldwide to be able to take advantage of the autonomous and other vehicle programs. So to me, that's a big opportunity. But you'll see trade go three ways. Number one, interprovincial trade. You know, you still can't drive a transport truck from coast to coast easily because tire pressure is different in every province. The first aid kit requirements is different in every province. It's like ridiculous nonsense like this. So we've got to cut through red tape and regulation and kick open $40 billion in interprovincial trade. Then our US, we've got to continue to fight the protectionist US with the Buy America plans that we continue to hear about over and over and over. So we're going to rely heavily on NAFTA 2.0. And then we've got our international trade that people respect Canadian products, whether it's a hard good, a durable good, or advanced manufacturing, AI, we are world leaders. They are respected. So we'll do a lot of virtual trade because, you know, the travel will still not be lifted as quickly as we think. And, you know, the aviation sector still thinks it's 12, 18 months before we're back to any kind of regular travel, especially across the pond. I hope I didn't talk too long, Abdullah. I apologize.
No, it's fantastic. It's good. Very informative, Minister. Thank you. I know there's so many more questions, and as promised, we're going to be taking a lot of these questions and answering for you. But we have questions around even, you know, things that you've spoken to around even funding opportunities for early stage companies. You know, questions around procurement and what that looks like. Even partnership questions with regards to the work that you guys are doing with the federal government and IRAP and a few other programs as well. So we'll have to answer a lot of these questions offline as promised, and we'll work with your office to do so. But Minister Fedeli, I just want to say thank you so much for stepping up and speaking to Ontario's tech startup community today. What we will commit to do, as I promised, is to share your information and even the video online for people to view on their own time. We can only imagine how busy your calendar is, and so thank you again for your time, and we appreciate everything that you're doing for Ontario. We look forward to hearing about all the additional measures coming in place, and wherever we can be of help to you, and especially in particular the regional innovation centers across the province. We will always be there to help. So feel free to reach out. Thank you, and stay safe, and goodbye. And Mohammed, anything you want to say before I wrap it up?
Just a big thank you to the minister, and please come back to talk to innovators and entrepreneurs. Rising will always provide this platform, and we're more than happy to collaborate. Thank you, and continue to do the excellent job that you and the whole cabinet is doing on behalf of Ontarians.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity, and we really do want to hear from you. Send your questions to Abdullah. My office will answer them. We'll all sit, we'll caucus together and answer your questions, but give us your suggestions as well. And please don't be afraid to give us your ideas and tell us if you have pain points that we need to know about, tell us. We can't fix things if we don't hear about it, and especially talk to us about red tape and regulations and where we can help you with those things. But thank you very much. Please, all of you, stay healthy, stay safe. And we'll come out of this together, and you're on the pointy end of the spear on this, believe me. Thank you for your great work.
Thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you.